live, and we are live, I guess so. So welcome. Okay, it's like there was a buffering thing. All right, so I hope I'm audible or you can hear me clear. If so, please let me know. So
Auth.
I don't know, like for some reason I did set up, I think, stream. Let me see. Okay, so there's a couple of stuff here to stream with. Let's see. Okay, OBS seems to be good, but now I don't know, for some reason sometimes OBS becomes so much complicated when it comes to using, like when it comes to use OBS with Linux, especially. Like I always get that complication things. And yep, so I think, let me see if we still have StreamYard. StreamYard. Let me see if I still have an account here, because it's been way so long without using their platform. Okay, I can see there's a lot happened here. So next. Acknowledge that. Yeah, accept all, and upgrade to advanced for free. Try advanced for free. For how long? I don't know, but monthly is wow. No, with the economy, I think we don't have that budget to. Okay, they even added the dark mode and thing. Good for them. You know, with this AI era, I think one of the tool or one of the stuff that I may consider building one of my own is you know, a streaming thing, because with AI everything is free. Yeah, sorry, everything is possible. This is way back on when was the last time I did use this platform? Let me check. Do I have streams? Okay, recordings, I don't think so. When was the last time? Okay, yeah, we have passed. This was on June 2024. It's almost 1 year plus. I don't know when was the last time again. Since then, I don't know. Anyway, so today we are talking about Kiro. We're not talking about StreamYard. So thank you for joining. Let me know what's your thought, with the current AI vibe, the vibe coding stuff. Like, these things are just mind blowing, because I've used Kiro now. I think it's 2 weeks. Just playing around, build some stuff, and get the best out of it. And honestly speaking, this thing is just amazing. I don't know, like it's like all tech companies that exist in today, like everyone is just pushing to code, like AI coding editor. Like, I don't know what's their plan and future for us, since everyone just comes in and they just drop new baby in the tech space. Because right now Kiro is the new baby in the tech space. We had Claude CLI, which was again mind-blowing, and now we have the another VS Code fork, which is Kiro, and it's just freaking amazing. Like, they recently did some update. I think there's one update when it comes to, let me go to changelog. So they did add, so the agentic ID that helps you do your best work, step by spec driven development. Yeah. And let's see what we get here. Okay, as of now, they don't have the pricing thing yet, because if you go to pricing, and they just have like an FAQ section where you just get to, Kiro is free to use during preview with reasonable limits that allows you to try it out. Yes, so at the moment it's still free, so you can just take that fully advantage before they just skyrocket the price, and you can just build whatever you want. And as much as it's on the preview mode, I can personally say the preview is more better than Casa, because yeah, you'll just see in a second. Anyway, so what has changed? Pricing table. Kiro continues to remain free with reasonable limits during the preview period. So we have received valuable feedback from the developers community, regarding pricing plan, including how to count different interactions, tasks, or blah blah blah. Yeah, all those things. So as of now, the tool is free. You can just, if you're on Linux or if you're on Windows, Mac, it supports all operating systems that exist. Yeah, so you can simply just head over to Kiro, pick your operating system, and happy coding. Yeah, it's just very simple to set it up. It's just like, setting cursor. There's no different. Anyways, now what I've managed to build with this thing is something called the Invoice Management System. Like, the entire website was let me just log in very quick. And boom, so we are logged into the system. So now the invoice thing, I did use a couple of tech stacks to come up with such amazing invoice system. And one of the tech stack that were used when building out the invoice system was, we use Supabase, and I did use Next.js 15, I guess, Tailwind, TypeScript, chat CNUI for the beautiful chat and nice looking dashboard. And as you can see, the dashboard is kind looking modern and so professional. Like there's so much details information on the invoice management stuff that I did build. Now this took me a week of building this thing using Kiro. By the way, how do you pronounce it? Is it Kiro or Kiru? Whatever. Yeah. So the invoice system management has authentications. It has, like, there's so much happening on the backend, or the logic behind the functionalities. Yeah, so let me just walk you through some of the cool features that the invoice thing has. So on the dashboard, we basically just get like an overview of, you know, the total invoice, total revenue, paid invoice, and, you know, some of the overdue invoices. And down here we get some, you know, a pretty like clear picture of how, you know, revenues, distributions, you know, breakdowns of some of the invoice status by revenue. And then down here we have the chart. And if we refresh the page, I just want you to focus on how smooth the animation is when it comes to load data. You get awesome. That thing is so perfect. Like, yeah, like it's a big thing, you know. Yeah. And down here we get to see the top clients based on the invoices that you've created for your customers. And we also have a section where we focus on the overdues invoices and due invoices. And down here we just get some recent invoices that were, you know, paid or not paid. And on the invoice route, this is where now we get to create invoice, and we also get to do more management kind of thing when it comes to creating invoices. So as of today, I think I only have one invoice for Kiro system, which is around 17,000. This is Kenya shilling, so this number is fake here, so don't bother calling. And then the date that this invoice was created, and as well the due date and the status. So all these things are working perfectly. So if we try to create a new invoice, we can either decide to go with an existing one or a new client. So before we just okay, I'm just going to do the new one, and then first we're just going to do and try to add a client on the system, and then we see if we can pick the existing customer from the customer route. Okay, so I'm just going to do a test, and I'm just going to say YouTube, and I'm just going to give YouTube number. I don't know, so we're just going to say it's, yeah, that's the number. And for the email, just say yt@gmail.com. And we are going to select that specific date, so we can say this invoice is due today. Actually, not today, but tomorrow. And for the service description, we can say, we can do something like YouTube free account. Yeah, something like that. You can be more creative there. And we can set price, so we can do, this is around that one. And we could as well add like an additional note to the invoice. So for instance, if we just want to be so specific on, we only allow payment via bank, so we can say we only allow payment through So let's add a number here. There you can just use the same number. I don't know what the error here was about, but I guess we'll get to see what the error is. Now one thing is, okay, so let's create the invoice. They cannot create, okay, so it says cannot create invoice, the record reference by other date, please delete the related record first. Okay, so I guess if we go to Supabase and check why do, now one thing is we have the form validation. So if we have like an existing invoice with the same similar, but we don't have invoice with the same similar dates, I guess so. Anyways, so let's go back and check. So why do we have such issues here? Function upgraded to role mutable search blah blah. Anyway, so let's try to have the invoice somewhere between 29, and then we could do gmail.com, and let's try again. So if we get an error here, now this is so weird. Okay, demo days are so funny. Anyway, so now we're going to copy this error message and we are going to go back to Kiro, and we are going to do Shift Control N. No, not that one. By the way, if you want the GitHub link on the Invoice app, you can just comment and then I'll just send you. Now we're just going to paste the error message from the console, and this is just going to be fixed. So okay, anyway, so let's try with an existing customer, and then with the same value. So we're just going to hit create, and then that's going to be successful. I don't know, for some reason when you try a new customer, it always gives me that weird error. A good thing is we can get to fix this while we are testing the app. Now next thing here is now we have the invoice created successful, so we could do something like view invoice. Okay, so now we can do something like we could view more about the invoice. We could do some edits, or we could just get more stuff. We can also as well add some attachments, like photos or some payment messages, screenshots, something like that. And we could as well print the invoice. Okay, which the print thing seems to be so weird. It captures so much details which are unnecessarily needed, but you get the picture. We could email the client, and you can see down here it says email feature coming soon. I love that. Now we could do something like we could download the invoice as a PDF, and you just get a PDF version of the invoice. So if we go back here, we have a nice loading state of the invoices, and we could edit the invoice. So we could do something like And by the one of the most key feature that I really love is the timestamp, which it literally it tells you who edited the invoice and at what particular time. Because as you can see now, if we go to the new page, it's 10:24 p.m. East African time, and that's the same time. I think it's 10:23. Here's 10:24. It's just a few seconds behind, which is okay. We could tell who did edit the invoice at what time. And one of the cool feature here before we do any changes here is if we go back to our dashboard, as you can see, we have an invoice which is an overdue invoice. And as you can see, the chart has also changed. We have the yellow color, and then we have the green color, which represent paid invoice, and the orange one represents some due. So I don't know why we don't have the red thing here to show us the overdue things, which is okay. Now if we go back to the invoice and we pick this particular one, we could make it either paid or unpaid, or so if we decide to make it as overdue, by automatic this is just going to be saved. So if we go back, now that didn't happen. Maybe we need to make sure we did save the changes here. So I'm just going to change, and this is just going to do some updates. So if we go back, oh, it's still on the overdue. All right, so let's go back and unpaid. So save, go back. Okay, it's still on that one. Why? Oh, right, now I get it. Now for the status to be updated, we need to do more things. So if we go back to the invoice again and we try to edit, so we go back here, we have 1 second, sorry for that background noise. Let's make this as paid first, and then save, update. Now invoice is paid, so we go back. Okay, we have green. Okay, right, now the due thing works in a different way. So if we go back to the invoice again, and let's say this invoice is due on, it was supposed to be paid, let's say on 25, correct? And okay, we have saved, change successful, but for the purpose of testing we need to save that as well. So now if we go back, okay, we did make the invoice paid, so we need to go back to update that as well. Okay, so we're going to make this as unpaid, and then we're going back, so we have 1. Okay, I don't know for invoice due in the next 7 days. Okay, what am I missing here? So maybe we try to make it due in, let's say, somewhere between 5. Okay, we wait that invoice updated successful, and then we're just going to save this, and we're going back. Perfect. So now we get the due thing. So I think due soon, it's, how do we put it, it's like invoice is due on 7 days, so we could add that there. Okay, so that's one of the functionalities. So if you go back here again, we could make it as paid, and then we will get that toast notification and the invoice is gone. That's one of the key features. So we now can see, if we go to customers or clients, we could add another client. So for instance, let's say I want to add my company as the the email, and then I'm just going to choose a random email, and then I'm just going to choose address, and I'm just going to give a gibberish word, and then I'm just going to add client, and that client will be added successful. So for the client, we don't have much. It's just about adding client and do more on viewing some client details. So on the client details here, we could do something like contacts, so we can get some contact information of that particular client. So we can get his phone number, email, the company address, and the client scenes. So client scenes, I guess this is the time or the date that this particular client was created on the system. And right here we have the total invoice this client has, and paid and unpaid and overdues. So we could as well create his first invoice, and that particular client will be his details will just be picked from the contact informations, and then we could select the date, and we could add his phone number that was added, and then description. We could add money that customer needs to pay, and we could create that invoice for that particular client. So now if we go back to customers or clients and we view details, okay, so for some reason the client data is not being live updated, which we could take a look at that sometimes later. Because if we view this customer invoice, this takes us to the invoice route. Okay, so if we try to see the more details, we don't get some obvious details, which is okay. We could fix that. And the last thing here is the setting page. This is just changing some settings for different entities, the company name, phone number, email, and address, and the invoice prefix. So you can decide, do you want to use the E and V, shortcut of invoice, and the tax thing here. So let's try to make, okay, we can't do here because this will force us to do so much things. And if we go back, yeah, so simply that's how the entire system works. So if I just walk you through some of the code here on how we did come up with such amazing thing, and why you should also consider using Kiro. Now, since they let me try appearance, and I'm just going to zoom in. Yes, since now it's on a preview mode, as you can see there, like so far right now, too many people are making requests. So just going to see, please wait before try again. Yeah, so if you see this error, means too many people are making too many requests. So here is our project structure. So this is just a normal Next.js project. Now it's a Next.js 15 project, I believe so. Now, one of the cool feature that I've seen with Kiro, which I've not seen with any other editor, I know on Casa we could index a particular project, and we could tell the AI thing to just create a plan for the project, which again, it's not good, it's good, not bad. Now one of the key feature with Kiro is this agent steering, or I don't know how to put it. Is it steering? Yeah, that. So if you have like a new project, and you need the AI to have like a more context of your project, on what you're working on and the project stuff. Now you could like do the agent thing where Kiro is just going to generate some documents, like some of the, so when now when you do the agent steering, which I believe it should be like getting more context of the project, if I'm not wrong. Now it's going to create several markdowns file for the entire project. It's going to try to get like a core functionality for the project, and then it's just going to generate some markdowns that I guess it's just going to be using those markdowns to have like a clear picture on how your project should be, built. Okay. And so when you see and it will create .kiro file. This is just like .casa rule, to make it simple. Actually, it's just .casa rule where casa or Kiro is just going to use whatever it's inside this folder to give you the best when building your project. So now and one of the cool feature is once it has like a clear picture of what the project it's all about, it's going to create a task. Do we have a task? Yes, it's going to create a task where it's going to build the entire project based on the task. Now, it will create for you a markdown files where like all the, it will plan, do design, do the project thing. And once it has like a full picture of how, for instance, the invoice thing, it did create some tables in markdowns, all tables that are needed. And then it went ahead and create like a task where it's just going to use this task to make sure the entire project works perfect. I don't know how to put it in a better way, but yeah, that's how it works. Just like a rule that Kiro is just going to use to make sure it gives you the best. And each time, and one of the cool feature is each time you add a new feature, it will always go ahead and create a new instruction for that feature. And then it's just going to, because as you can see here, we have Firebase Auth error handling and Firebase database setup. So these are two features that have their own two instructions on how to work on the features. Initially the project was using Firebase, but for some reason it was too complicated to set it up with Firebase, and for some reasons, the concept on Firebase was a bit more complicated compared to Supabase, which is so easy to set up. And these are just some of the components that we have, almost 200 plus. I think the longest one is, let's go and check the page now. Dashboard. Yeah, this is the long components, which has almost 400, almost to 500 pieces of code. And we have some of the Auth stuff here. Yeah, and so on and so on. And we also have some of the SQL stuff that it did create for us, and some schemas as well. And some of the plans, all those kind of stuff. Yeah, so there's too much or too many details on this. Yeah, so if you want the GitHub repo to this invoice management system, you could just comment down below, and then I'll just give you the invoice thing, and you can implement it to your own needs. It's not supposed to be in this way. So yeah, so that's how, that's what you get. And you should try Kiro and see yourself and how good the thing is.